Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of notanalog.com. Today I'm looking at a large phone. It's the Galaxy Note 3. Now I've looked at the Galaxy Note 1, the Galaxy Note 2, and it's great to actually see how much it evolves and start looking at number 3. Now every time that they bring out a new Note, I start to realize why, if I ever bought a phablet or a large phone, the Note would always be the one I would go for, and it's always because they seem to make the extremely large size work. And one of the big things is to do with the stylus. So this time, just to give you a rough idea of what they've done between the Note 2 and this, they've actually made the device lighter, faster, smaller, and thinner. However, they've got a larger screen and better battery life. And that's kind of impressive because that means that they're actually making some serious progress. And one of the things I always struggle with these is just the physical size, and physically the size is now smaller, so it actually is easier to hold. However, the screen is bigger. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's an amazing feat. So that's really cool, and the S Pen again has been even further advanced. Every time they release a new Note, the S Pen becomes more valuable. And for someone like myself, using the S Pen has always been something I've enjoyed doing, but always wanted more and more. And you always tend to find yourself using your finger as well as a pen at the same time. So to give you a quick example, I recently used the Note at a wedding. I was emceeing a wedding and I decided to use the Note 3 to be my whole tool for managing this wedding as the MC. And it worked really well. So I had my whole run sheet in here. During the night, where people would come to me and say, oh, hey, Jeff, you know, this has now happened, or there's a scheduling change here, or could you make sure you mention this? And I would just pull it out, write a quick note, and that was so simple to do. Now, one of the ways that I did that is when you remove the pen, it then opens up this Air Command option on the screen. And from there, you can do things like action memos and whatnot. And to give you an idea of, say, for example, an action memo is, you could pull the pen out, hit action memo, and then from there I could write down someone's phone number, quickly write it down, scribble it, or an address. And then from there you can actually click on the memo that you've written and it reads it and translates it to what you want to do. So for example, if I wrote a number down, I could click phone, click on the number, it would interpret the phone number, and it does a pretty good job of reading your text, and it's ready to dial it, or open it in Google Maps and start getting a navigation to the address that you've written down and things like that. So it's kind of some really quick ways of scribbling something down and then doing something with it. And that's something that I found really good with this. It's just simple note taking, simple actions, all done just from what used to be a pen and paper, actually translating it to the digital world, which is what we're doing. So Air Command is a huge feat with this compared to what the Note 2 and Note 1 was capable of doing. With that said, like any wedding, you know, ceremony in the morning, reception which goes late into the evening, this was with me the whole time, taking pictures. Screen was on the majority of the time, especially when you are on stage emceeing, right? And battery life, made it home, not a problem, which was into the wee hours of the morning and still not a problem. It actually has really good battery life. And obviously you have that ability because of the space that you've got to fit a large battery in there, which is great. The screen is also a full high definition now, so it's full 1080p, and it is gorgeous. The colors, which you won't probably notice as much in this video, but you need to see it for yourself. The colors, the contrast, it's really, really nice and very detailed. Speaking of detailed, this little guy on the back of the camera can now shoot 4K video. So that's really awesome. So it takes some pretty decent shots, shoots 4K video, still does 1080p and 720p if you'd like. And you can also, while you're shooting video, snap pictures as well, which I quite enjoy because you don't have to worry about switching between one or the other. If the bride and groom are having their first dance and you're filming it, you can also be snapping photos at the same time. Really handy. Besides that, the back case has been changed. It feels like a fake leather. So it is just a plastic case, but it's got this beautiful soft texture on the back, which I actually like because it feels more premium. They've also got more chrome around the edges, which again gives it that premium feel. It's something that you could put next to your diary, or you could put on the table in a meeting and not feel out of place. It looks the business. So that's really handy about it as well. I will say another thing that they've added to the stylus, I don't want to forget this because it's important. So I mentioned before that I used to find myself flicking between the fingers and the stylus. The reason being is that these buttons at the bottom, like home and back and things like that, and options, used to only work with the touch of your finger. They now also work with the touch of the stylus. So you don't ever have to be using your fingers except to pinch and zoom. I'm sure there's probably a trick around it, but I didn't figure it out in the time I was reviewing it. So really cool. Again, the size is still a huge issue. When you put it next to, say, the iPhone 5, yeah, we're talking about a pretty big size gap. And when you're looking at pockets, hopefully you've got big pockets if you're looking at the Note 3. It's available now. I wasn't the first one to review it, but you know what? It's something you need to check out if you're in the market for a device that's going to somewhat replace your tablet as well as your phone. It does fit really well in the middle. You just need to make sure it fits in your pocket or in your bag or wherever you're going to put it. Now, the Note 3 is the first device to work with this little guy right here. This is the Galaxy Gear, and I'm starting to review that now, and I'll have another review shortly of the Gear and obviously how it works with the Note 3. So stay tuned for that one. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.